Hey guys, I'm Mastar, author and creator of the new manga Demonrush, and today I want to explain Chapter 1. If you want to read it for free, you can read it on Webtoons with a link in the description down below, but if you want to go down to the Teespring shop, you can see it down here. You can purchase the whole chapter for your mobile phone as a download. That way you can read it in the highest resolution, and it'll also help support me and the project. Also, we have some posters there, and we still have the disc plates up for sale. You still have time to order those as Christmas presents. Links are also in the description for that. And the final thing I want to talk about is the launch date for Demonrush, the real hard launch. The manga is just a soft launch, but remember, there's two major other pieces to this puzzle that are coming out in December, hopefully. And I had initially said in a video it was gonna be December 18th, but I think I'm gonna have to push that back just a little bit, maybe 10 days or so, because one of these pieces is in mass production and it's not gonna be ready by the 18th. So I can't make the launch video until that's done. I'll keep you guys updated. Let's break down the first chapter right after this message from our sponsor. Our sponsor for today's video is Mech Arena. Mechs are here. A killer 5v5 mech shooter you can play for free on your phone or PC. Pilot a unique mech, choose your weapons, and take on the world. Mech Arena just kicked off a massive event running now until December 15th to raise $100,000 for charity by destroying 1 billion mechs in-game. As the whole community hits milestones, Mech Arena donates more funds to charity and will hand out prizes to the players, from in-game loot to a whole box of limited edition Mech Arena merch shipped right to your door. 10 lucky players will take part in the grand finale, the Mech Arena Championship, on December 16th for a chance to pilot a real-life mech. Dude, I would literally do anything to pilot a real-life mech. Like, that looks way too awesome. If you want to win the prizes, you'll need to register for the event. Once you're in game, just hit the Mechs Are Here button in your hangar and sign up. You can get started for free right now by clicking the link in the description or scanning the QR code you're seeing on the screen. You guys can add me as a friend in-game with this username and ID. Use my link and you'll get 50,000 credits, 3 gold crates, and an exclusive Mechs Are Here event skin just for taking part. There was a lot of very good questions in the comments section from the video, and so some things I can elaborate on, but obviously I can't spoil it because I am the author, but things that are pretty clear, things you may have missed, I can definitely go over. One of the things that I've been open about is that Chapter 1 is a flash forward. So in the opening sequence, we get some text that lets us know that in the year 2022, the gates of hell open on Earth. And then in the beginning of the first panel, you can see here that it says year 2039. So that is a 17-year time skip from Doomsday until the date when Chapter 1 is happening, which is a flash forward. Now, somewhere in between 2022 and 2039 is going to be present day, and you're going to see that in the beginning of Chapter 2. What has happened to the world after Doomsday, after the gates of hell open on Earth, the current state of the world. And throughout the series, you're going to be trying to figure out, how does the story get to this point? How does it get to the point of Rush fighting Adriel? It's a tactic that some movies and stories use by showing you what's going to happen in the future first. Think Boruto versus Kawaki in the first episode of Boruto. And you're spending the whole series trying to figure out how they get there. It's similar to that. Many readers left comments thinking that Rush is actually the protagonist, or he is the main character, but they also may be familiar with Soren, who I introduced in Anime War, and actually who shows up at the end of this chapter. So who is the main character? That's something that you guys are gonna have to wait and figure out and see. A lot of people also thought that Adriel is a villain because he seems like so powerful and menacing, but is he? That's another thing that you guys are going to have to wait and see. Chapter 2 will definitely clear up a lot of that. We also are planning on potentially breaking up Chapter 2 into 3 parts because it is a very, very long chapter. But that will give you a lot more clarification as to what exactly is going on, who's the main character, what are their relationships. My entire plan for Demonrush was to give you all of the awesome right up front, and that's going to apply to the other 2 parts of this project that are coming out in December. I have been working super hard on this story. I want the story to be so good and so entertaining and engaging and intriguing, so I think you guys are going to be really, really surprised at how deep this story is going to go. I also want to state that this is not like a Satanist Satanist story or any, I'm not a Satanist. It's not a Christian comic technically, but Demon Rush basically is exploring the fantasy of various religions around the world. So it's a lot of the mystical elements of all religions. Christianity is the main focus, but you will see names and stories from some other religions as well throughout. So you may or may not have noticed this, but Rush's sword is actually made of shadow energy. You can see that he has this kind of demonic sword hilt, and then here as he's going to cast the spell Manu Inferni, which translated in Latin means hell hand, he withdraws the blade of shadow, puts it on his belt, and then takes his hands out in order to clap them together and say Manu Inferni. You can also notice that the guard on his sword changes. It kind of folds in after he retracts the energy. And this was actually an idea from Pedro himself, the illustrator. So as Rush smacks his hands together, it's not like he's casting a jutsu or he's not really doing like hand signs like he would in Naruto. It's just that holy knights or holy fighters clap their hands together in the prayer stance, whereas the evil side claps their hands together where one fist is closed to show the opposition. This sword here that Rush is surprised by is actually the first one that he deflected, and it's been spinning out in the air. But Adriel is able to move these swords around freely throughout space, and so while Rush deflected the first one away and then blocked 3 more swords, he forgot the first one. He didn't realize that Adriel was keeping track of the first one and just had it come from behind him to slice him. So in this panel, Adriel says, "I will do what Soren cannot. This is the end for you, Rush," giving away Rush's name for the first time. And hopefully after the next sequence of events, you can put together why the series is called Demon Rush. So then Rush gets this voice in his head who says, after destroying Zadkiel, one of the other angels, your Imperium limit has raised immensely. And we get an example of how his Imperium raises, how the limit raises near the end of the chapter after Rush destroys Adriel and starts to breathe in all of his Imperium, causing Rush to burst out of his form, and you see his muscles bulge. And he even says, what a massive amount of Imperium. So by absorbing the Imperium of a fallen angel, Rush is able to increase his power tremendously. So he accepts the deal with the devil, and we see this smoky hand place this symbol on Rush's back, which opens up this huge pentagram and the mark of the beast. And as this happens, Rush falls to his knees and starts screaming in agony as all of this dark energy starts to flow from him. And here we see Rush has transformed. He's got this suit of black armor on. He has horns, and in a very arrogant way, he's saying, I've already destroyed 6 of the angels. What makes you think you're so special? So the 3 swords come at him, and obviously he's gained a tremendous power boost from this transformation because those swords were very difficult for him to deflect before, and now he's smacking them away with ease. The demon and the angel clash, creating a massive explosion in the battlefield, showing the sheer power of these 2 characters who are extremely mighty. Can't get too much into detail. Adriel says, I'll send you back to hell, this time for good, to which Rush responds, I am hell. And I think as a reader, you're probably able to put the pieces of the puzzle together for that and for this chapter, but I don't want to explain too much and ruin the story. I really want to hear your theories. It gets me excited reading the comments. So the battle continues. Adriel shoulder slams Rush really far away, and he gets up and he's like, damn, maybe I was too hasty about challenging Adriel after all, but I don't have any other choice. I must destroy him here and now. It's not like Adriel is going to allow him to escape. We get this crazy combat sequence of Adriel using 8 arms with a sword in each hand to just create this insane tornado of slices as Rush flies directly towards him, trying to land one strike. And Adriel notices that Rush is getting faster as they're battling. Now, how is he getting faster? Again, I think you might be able to put that together. Adriel knees Rush way up into the air and then points his finger at Rush, sending all 8 of his great swords of destruction at Rush, who, as he's twirling, pulls out this candle from his back pocket. Now, this item is going to be very important in terms of the storyline of the series. This Raphaelian artifact, as Adriel puts it, allows Rush to basically teleport instantly. He crushes the candle and allows him to teleport away to another part of the battlefield, allowing him to basically survive a fatal blow by getting out of the way of danger. But it doesn't appear that he can use that candle again. He had to break it in half in order to use that power. Rush charges up his sword with this kind of dark electric energy. Amazing panel here by Pedro. I got so many comments on this page alone at how awesome that art is. He charges up the attack with his sword and he fires out Gehenim, which rough translation for that is hellfire. So all of the spells used in demonrush are in Latin. And the reason I did this because Latin is very biblical. Latin is used in a lot of fantasy elements, and I like it. I think it's a little bit different. And while demonrush does have a lot of characteristics of typical shonen, it is going to have a lot of Western influence and a lot of its own creative mark as well. Adriel's able to easily swipe away the Gehenim attack, the Hellfire attack, and then he creates this stance with all 8 of his arms, which is like supposed to be in the form of a cross, and he says intiritum, which means destruction in Latin. And so you can see all 8 of his swords point together at a single point, creating a massive explosion of light energy, and he rockets it out at Rush. It's so massive you can even see it from space. Adriel here says demons get more brash every millennia, and I can't explain that to you yet, but you're gonna learn it by around chapter 5 or so, what that means, why he's talking in terms of thousands of years. We see Rush completely wiped out, and here he seems to be almost unconscious, right? And you hear the voice of Lucifer at this point saying, "Let me take over for you, betrothed one." Now, I'm using betrothed in my series as a synonym for promised, but it could also mean bride, but he's not Lucifer's bride. He's the promised one in Lucifer's eyes. Adriel's surprised. He's never really seen something like this. He says, "What devilry is this?" And all that dark smoke starts to create this sphere around Rush, a solid sphere which cracks. Adriel points his fingers at the sphere, sending all of his great swords of destruction at it to destroy it. And that's when you see this new form of Rush, but this is actually Lucifer taking over. And that is explained later on in the chapter. I've heard a lot of people calling him Rush. I mean, he's technically like Lucifer wrapped around Rush's body, essentially. He roars this mighty roar, and it's so powerful now that it literally obliterates, it just melts the great swords of destruction, which are obviously incredibly strong. And so that roaring power alone was so tremendous that it was able to just melt an angel's sword. Now, how is Lucifer able to come out? Why is he taking over Rush? What exactly is going on here? That's something that you guys are going to have to learn throughout the entirety of the series. Now, Lucifer takes out this massive sword. He taps his tail onto the ground. This pentagram forms, and out comes this just monstrosity of a blade that he swings over his head. And this surprises Adriel because Adriel is finally starting to understand what he's up against. So he says he must be stopped because he understands now what he's up against. And he puts his arms in this circular formation, which launches out up into the sky. And he announces his ultimate attack, Omnipotens Ferrum, which rough translation means the hammer of God. And out of the sky comes this unimaginably huge metal fist that seems to be the same sort of ancient robotic style as Adriel himself, launching it at Lucifer, trying to take him out. But we see that in a spectacular fashion, Lucifer slices through both the hand and Adriel in a series of strikes that seem to be in an instant, sliding past him and destroying Adriel pretty much. Adriel slams down on his knees, Imperium blurting out everywhere, and that's pretty much the end for Adriel. As he lands on his knees, he looks over and he realizes exactly what he's up against, and that is the Dark Prince himself, who just jumps right onto his face, grabs his helmet tight, and through Adriel's eyes, you see what Lucifer actually looks like. And the scale is also appropriate. So one little tidbit of information that I'll give you a little bit of spoiler because you're going to get it in chapter 2 anyway. The angels are about 100 feet tall, and the 4 archangels are 100 times bigger than even an angel. And with that, Lucifer rips off Adriel's head. You can see the Imperium splashing out everywhere. It's kind of this like fairy dust, liquidy substance. And with that, Soren wakes up. So Soren, as you saw in Anime War, you saw him with angel wings, and his hair and eyes can go white, and he can gain tremendous power. He wakes up out of his bed, he feels something happening, and he acknowledges that this must be Rush's doing. So Rush absorbs the Imperium, and that's when Soren lands and he is fully transformed into his Templar state. Now, I can't explain to you what a Templar is yet, but Lucifer does refer to Soren later on in the chapter as a Templar. Another thing you're going to have to just wait and learn about throughout the story. Rush says to Soren that only one angel remains, that Cassiel, that Soren is so fond of, is his final target. So meaning that Rush explained he destroyed 6 of the angels before, now plus Adriel, he has destroyed 7 angels, and there's only one angel remaining. He says that Soren is also a target, and once he destroys both Soren and Cassiel, it will be the end of the Holy Knights. Rush falls to his knees as his heart pulses, and then all of this smoky energy of Lucifer starts to come out of Rush again, and Soren now is facing off against Lucifer himself. Soren says, "Reveal yourself, demon." Now obviously this isn't Lucifer's true form as we saw through Adriel's eyes. Now why is he all in this weird smoky form? Again, you're going to have to wait and see. He says, "You, the one who has slain so many of my children. You're too late, Templar." There's that word Templar. The ascension is nigh. And what is the ascension? Soren says, "I'm going to find a way to destroy you, Lucifer," implying that Lucifer is indestructible. And he swings at the ghastly, ghostly figure of Lucifer, who latches onto his sword and starts to cause him tremendous pain. Soren screams, and this bolt of light energy comes from the sky, landing on Soren and cracking into his sword in particular, to which Lucifer responds, "Soon enough, you will face my full power." So letting the audience know that Lucifer is not in his full form or his full power, or there's something going on here that's holding him back. And Soren says, "Magna Daemonium Vim Extermina." Rough translation is the great demon extermination. He explodes with a ball of light energy, and it seems to vaporize the smoky figure of Lucifer. Rush falls to the ground, and Soren says, "You bastard, I should just kill you right now." Now, why doesn't Soren just straight up kill Rush right there when he has the chance? The ground starts to rumble, and this giant molten fist comes out, grabbing Rush and pulling him back down into hell. And that's pretty much the end of chapter 1. So a lot of things happen here. There was a lot of action, but there was a lot of nuggets of the story sprinkled throughout here that you may have missed. Hopefully I shed some light onto those. Chapter 2 will definitely give you way more insight as to what the overall story is, but it's still going to leave you with a lot of questions. I've made a very conscious effort with the help of my editor to tell as much story as possible in each chapter. And as we're building and building this story, every chapter is going to become very valuable when it comes to explaining more pieces of the story and the world that I've created. So I'm really excited to show that stuff to you guys. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up. There's links for everything Demon Rush related in the description, including reading the chapter, downloading the chapter, buying some artwork, or subscribing to my Patreon, which will all help me continue to do this project. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll see you soon for some more Demon Rush videos.